Now, Ghana currently lacks the right policies and framework to ensure a safe working environment. That is what has engaged the attention of experts who are meeting at GIMPA. Now, this means higher risk of injury to workers, increased insurance premiums, and payment of compensations to affected persons. Now, in the studio with me to help us understand the reality of this is Mr. Samuel Kofi. He's the first Vice President of the Ghana Institute of Safety and Environment Professionals. Mr. Kofi, thank you very much for your time. So GIMPA is the venue where you've been raising these concerns, but these are not new, are they? For the longest time, we've had almost no legislation around safety. What's the real cost of this?
Right, that's good. I want to thank you for having me. I think you nailed it right on the head. This is not the first time, and we're making a lot of noise about this. Obviously, people are our most important asset, and we can't afford to lose our people through road accidents, through workplace accidents and all. So we need to do something. We've been talking about this for years without getting the necessary action, and we don't want to stop beating the drum. So as professionals concerned about the current plight of Ghanaians our situation, we assembled at GIMPA to look at what is it that we need to do to get our professionals, our politicians, our parliamentarians to enact the right laws and take action to avert this unnecessary death. I mean, people are dying needlessly at our workplaces.
Would you say there are certain workplaces where health and deaths as a result of poor health and safety provision are higher than others?
Oh, sure. In Ghana, for instance, in the high-risk industries, in the oil and gas industry, in the mining, because we have a lot of multinationals investing in this area, they come with the standards from their home country. So the standards are high, but there are a whole lot of other industries, forestry, agriculture, transport, where the performance is so poor, people dying through incidents. And so in the same country, we have companies that are doing well. On the other hand, we have companies that are struggling, because we don't have the framework, something to drive or compel them to do anything.
Right. Now, you talk about how this lack of regulation can result in a lot of cost to institutions and organizations in terms of lawsuits and so forth. But if there are no regulations, surely that should make it even more difficult for people to sue them. Am I right?
Exactly. You see, to the nation, according to ILO records, Ghana loses about 1.8 billion of our GDP annually through these losses. That is equivalent to 4% of our GDP.
Wow.
Now, you need a driver. When it comes to health and safety, you need a driver to compel organizations because it costs a little initially. You have to buy protective equipment. You have to employ the right professionals.
$1.8 billion, right?
Dollars annually.
Wow.
And that is the reason why we must take action. We must get our leaders to appreciate the losses. For instance, we've had instances where gas stations are blowing out. It costs money. The flood and twin disaster, whatever it is, people death, unnecessary death. So we are losing so much aside the death of humans, the loss of lives, property destruction, interruption to businesses, insurance premiums and all that. Right. So we need to take action as a nation. There is a lot of research that has been done. There is no nation that has developed that is competitive that hasn't taken safety seriously.
So what would you say is step one? What's the first thing we should do as a nation?
Step one is the right framework, which is the legislation. We need an all-encompassing legislation. For instance, there is a law, Factory and Inspectorate, FOSA Act, which looks at the factories. When it comes to the mining industry, we have a law. It is fragmented. That was where UK was prior to the 60s. And they sat down and said, look, it's not good to have safety spread across departments. It's a fragmented approach. I ask you in Ghana, who is responsible for safety in Ghana? The mining minister is responsible for safety in the mines. The employment minister is responsible for safety in factories. The forestry minister. So there is no single person who is accountable. And what they did is, let's bring all this together, have one omnibus authority that is accountable for safety across board. It doesn't matter the industry. So you regulate safety across board. Now what we have certain industry that are not regulated at all, and we have some that are regulated. And life is life. It doesn't matter where the person dies. we have lost.
Yeah.
So we need to regulate across board. And I think the number one step is to have a law that runs across all the industry. Fortunately, there is something that has been drafted. It's been on the drawing board for more than 5 years. We've been pushing to get government to get this approved by Parliament, and so that government can assent. But it's been on the drawing board. It's never coming out.
Now, usually when government drags its feet in taking any action, like creating legislation, it's because somebody will lose when they do. In this case, who stands to lose if we strengthen our health and safety regulations?
Good. Here's the case. I mean, we are rather losing for not doing it because, you see, nations that are developed really value safety. You prioritize safety. So it's about life. It can be your life on a road nest. It can be you going to a public place and the building collapsing. Look at what happened in Kintampo. People on holiday. So we want to protect our people, and that is the starting point. We don't lose anything. We rather gain a lot. With the right framework, the laws, companies that are not complying get fined, and government makes a lot of money. So it doesn't cost government to. All you need is get the right law, resource the body to supervise. And you have companies paying for it in terms of fines and penalties.
Samuel Kofi, I want to thank you very much for spending time with us on this all-important issue of safety. We appreciate it very much.